Dakotas as my rig rumbles to life. The sky stretched wide like an open map only I can read. Cold air slips through the cracked window, brushing my cheek with that familiar bite that always reminds me I'm alive. Alive and restless, moving from one state to the next, like a man chasing a dream he doesn't know how to name. The road isn't just a place to me, it's the only thing that's ever stayed steady, while everything else drifted away. I used to think I'd settle down someday, back when I was running routes through Tennessee. I met a woman who loved me more than I deserved. Her hands gentle, her voice warm, her patience endless. She'd wait on the porch every time I came back, her hair swaying with the summer breeze, like it was waving me toward a life I could have had. But the longer I stayed, the heavier the quiet grew inside me, and I knew deep down I wasn't built for stillness. One morning I left before she woke, my boots echoing softly on her wooden steps, as though even the house was asking me not to go. But the engine roared, the road called, and I followed like a man bound by something he can't explain. Now her memory rides with me through every mile, a bittersweet companion I never meant to carry this far. Long haul lovers fade like dust in the rain, soft touches lost to the pull of the highway again. Hearts break quiet in the glow of truck stop nights, as I chase the horizon with the dashboard lights. Highway ghosts stay close but never too near, whispering stories only the road can hear. I keep rolling, never knowing what it calls. Long haul lovers and the places I've lost. A few nights ago, outside a Wyoming rest stop, I met a traveler sitting by her RV, sipping cheap coffee, as though it were the finest drink ever brewed. She asked where I was headed, and I laughed because I never really know. I follow the route, but the route always feels secondary to the motion itself. She smiled like she understood that kind of life, the kind where tomorrow stretches farther than any commitment you can give. She talked about a past, a marriage that ended somewhere along Route 40, a man who loved adventure more than he loved her, and the day she realized she needed to choose herself, even if it meant walking into the unknown. Something about her honesty settled under my ribs like a truth I didn't want to face. We talked until the moon dipped low behind the mountains, two strangers sharing stories like old friends, because the night makes confessions easy when the road is always listening. She asked if I'd stop by again someday, but we both knew the answer. Roadmen like me don't circle back. We drift forward, always forward, leaving trails of half-formed futures behind. The radio hums static between distant stations, and the lights of lonely song again. Every town I pass feels like it could be home if I ever had the courage to stay. But the wheels keep turning, and I follow because stopping means facing everything I left undone. Steel wheels roll under a pale highway moon. My rig hums a low tune while the desert breathes slow. Yellow lines melt under the weight of the night, and I chase the memory of the girl I used to know. She waved from a diner window near Santa Fe, coffee steam rising as she smiled my way. We promised to meet when the snow came down, but miles kept moving and time spun around. Now every mile feels like a chapter undone, carrying her name like a mark I can't outrun. I'm hauling dreams down the midnight freight heartline, rolling past towns where her shadow once held mine. This engine keeps pushing through the waves too strong, trying to find a place where I finally belong. Stopped at a rest light on old Route 10, saw a couple dancing near a truck bed glow. Made me think of nights we could have spent before the highway called me back on the road. Montana snow, Nevada dust, Carolina rain, every place I pass feels like her name. I've had new love, soft laughs and hard goodbyes, but nothing fits right when the road is my sky. CB voices drift like rolling wind, talking storms, way stations, towns wearing thin, but none of them know the story I haul. A man chasing something he let fall. I'm hauling dreams down the midnight freight heartline, rolling past towns where her shadow once held mine. This engine keeps pushing through the waves too strong, trying to find a place where I finally belong. Someday I'll park this old steel frame, walk back to that diner and call her name. But until that dawn breaks clear and fine, I'll keep riding the midnight freight heartline. settles low across the Kansas flats as my truck cuts through the quiet like a slow-moving giant. The pavement stretches out long and lonely, painted with mile markers that feel more familiar than the faces of people I once swore I'd never forget. The air tastes like yesterday's rain and diesel, a blend of summer feels like home to a man like me, a man who lives between states, between promises made and promises broken, on nights when the road was louder than my own good sense. There was a time when I wore a ring on my hand, back when I believed I could balance the life of a driver with the heart of a settled man. She was patient, stronger than anyone I'd ever met, and she waited through long nights with the porch light glowing like a beacon calling me home. But distance has a way of stretching more than roads. It stretches hearts, stretches trust, stretches the thin lines that hold two people together. And somewhere between Oregon and Missouri, those lines snap quietly, leaving behind a silence too heavy for either of us to carry. Now the ring is gone, but the mark it left remains, a reminder of promises I meant to keep but couldn't hold long enough to make real. Mile markers pass like ghosts in the dawn, leading me forward though half my life is gone. Broken vows linger in the cab like a fire left low, burning slow with every place I go. I roll through the storms and the empty plains, feeling the truth running through my veins, that love falls quiet when the wheels won't slow. Mile markers tell the stories I never showed. Last night on a Colorado stretch, I met a singer with a cracked leather jacket and a voice that carried the weight of 1,000 long nights. She asked for a ride to the next town, and I said yes before thinking twice, because something in her eyes matched the kind of type I'd seen in my own reflection for years. We talked as the road hummed beneath us, sharing stories about the things we lost and the things we wished we'd had the courage to keep. She told me about a love that slipped away while she chased music through worn-out bars and neon-lit corners of forgotten towns. Her words felt like they were stitched from my own past, two travelers recognizing the pieces they left scattered across the country like old postcards. When we reached the town, she touched my arm gently and said, "Take care of yourself out there." Simple words, but they landed deep, like she knew the battles I carried beneath the surface. The night sky spreads across the plains like a canopy woven with quiet truths. The hum of the tides becomes a steady drum, a rhythm that steadies the ache in my chest. I think about all the people who tried to love me, people I pushed away without meaning to. Not because they weren't enough, but because the road demanded more of me than any heart should ever have to give. Mile markers pass like ghosts in the dawn, leading me forward though half my life is gone. Broken vows linger in the cab like a fire lit flow, burning slow with every place I go. I roll through the storms and the empty plains, feeling the truth running through my veins, that love falls quiet when the wheels won't slow. And mile markers tell the stories I never showed. Running long enough to stay, long enough to let someone in, long enough to rewrite the things I ruined. But tonight the road stretches ahead, wide and unending, waiting for my headlights to trace its worn out spine. And I keep driving, letting the mile markers guide me through the dark, carrying the weight of broken vows that still whisper in the quiet quiet of the movie night. Pulled in at mile 99 all 55. Truck humming slow after a 12-hour drive. Met a girl wiping tables at the late night bar, eyes warm and steady like a quiet star. She asked where I'm headed and if I'll stay, but wheels keep spinning, dreams slip away. Rest stop, roses fall out of my hands. Nothing ever grows on borrowed land. I come and go like a stranger in time, leaving pieces of heart at every sign. We shared cheap coffee in the neon haze. She spoke of music and her childhood days. Her laugh lit the room like a roadside flame, made me wish the road didn't own my name. If the road had mercy, it would let me stay, but the freight line calls at the break of day. Rest stop, roses fall out of my hands. Nothing ever grows on borrowed land. I've crossed plains so wide they swallowed the sun. Driven so far I forgot where I've begun. Windshield stories stain the glass with time. Faces of women who once called me mine. A Texas sweetheart with a soft drawl tone held my hand as though it was her own. But the freight car pulled me at dawn's first light, and I left her standing in the pale blue side. Steel horses carried me from state to state, chasing the next mile, run